I'm glad you stayed on here on News Desk. Now, Member of Parliament for Obuase West, Acquah says government must suspend ongoing advertisements seeking to engage new service providers for the Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency. And interestingly, GYEEDA ICT training module being advertised had a similar module youth in ICT module awarded to ILG Company Limited in July 2012 to train some 15,000 youth. I really don't get this too well, so I have with me in the studio Manasseh Azori. You recall that he he brought out a Revelation series on the rot at GYEEDA. Thank you very much for joining us here in the studio. What is this? Explain this to us. The fact that we're seeing an advertisement now, and it had been the same module had been given to our radios as well in 2012.
Okay, Kemini, to give you the brief background of this particular module, I think it started somewhere in 2008. And up to 2012, RLG had trained about 30,000 youth in this particular model, basically with mobile phone repairs. And then in 2012, that's July 2012, RLG got another contract to train 30,000 youth in ICT. And what they were supposed to do was to train 15,000 in 13, and then another 15,000 in 2014. And so the contract was signed in July. By November, they had been paid 25.5 million Ghana cedis.
Okay. And
then they have confirmed this. And last year, when I was doing the investigation, I realized the number they were training was 4,222. That's the number they gave us. That's less than 1/3 of the total number of people they were supposed to train for last year. And so when I asked them, they said, well, this is a number GYEEDA gave to us. And so we only do the training, and we train based on the number we are given. And we are aware they've not been asked to retrain, train the rest or refund the money. Yet we are seeing this advertisement for the same module. And it basically focuses on mobile phone repairs. And if the deadline for the process will be for proposal, companies submit proposal, I think that will be on the 30th of this month. And they said 3 weeks after that, they should be able to name or award the contract to the service provider or company to do the training. And so if things go according to their plan, by the 3rd week of May, we should be able to get a company being awarded to do what another company was awarded to and paid to train.
Has the contract with RLG, has it expired?
It can't expire because I have seen a copy of the contract. It was meant to expire in the year 2014. That's this year, because it is a 2-year period. And then for 2013, they were supposed to train 15,000, and then 2013, 15,000, 2014, 15,000, making it 30,000. And then the total amount is 55.5 million Ghana cedis. So they were paid half of that last year. So even with the last year's payment, the company has not been able to train all. So that contract, GYEEDA said they were cancelling certain contracts, okay? But even if it is cancelled, the question is, do you take the money back? Do you ask them to train the rest? Or you leave the money with them and then pay another company, or perhaps that same company, to train or do what you paid someone else to do? So this is the question we are seeking answers. But I can also say I've been speaking to some coordinators of GYEEDA in the regions and asking them why they were not able to provide people for training. And what they said was, basically, the numbers are just too much. And so not many youth are interested in the mobile phone repairs module. And what they are saying is that sometimes they are even forced to go in and pick people or youth who have completed the senior high school, junior high school, and waiting to continue to go for this training, because they find it very difficult to provide numbers to be trained. So what they are saying is that if GYEEDA wants to go ahead with at all, they should look at the internship models, like the teaching, the health extension workers, and all of those things, because this one, they find it very difficult, and so they end up training people who are not willing to go and sit down and repair mobile phones. And one even made an interesting point that if you put 50 people, if you train 50 people in a district to repair mobile phones, how many people are even interested in repairing their phones when they have problems? Some prefer to go and buy new ones and all of those things. So they are giving so many reasons why the youth are not interested in this particular module.
Thank you very much for that background information. I understand you have to go already, so thank you very much. Manasseh Awone is my colleague here at Joy News. But I have over the telephone the Member of Parliament for Obuase West, Acquah Nana Ama. Acquah has asked government to suspend the ongoing advertisement seeking to engage new service providers for the Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency. Acquah has joined me over the telephone. Hello, Acquah. Why so?
Well, it is because listening to Manasseh, it is obvious that even the choice of the model in which to spend so much money supposedly to train the youth is important, and it is something that must not be left to people who have demonstrated that they have an interest in siphoning public funds. Now, the second point, when the irregularities related to the GYEEDA program came out, the assurance were given by government that they will freeze the models, bring together a law and the related institutional arrangements, the absence of which might have allowed people to loot the program the way it was looted. That was the assurance we're giving. And our expectation has been that government would bring to Parliament the law that would do a couple of things. First, the board that would supervise the GYEEDA program. Are there going to be people President will appoint, or we are going to have institutional representation? That is a matter to be resolved. The supervisory ministry, you would think that it has to do with employment, so employment and social welfare. But it's also the case that it is training, so you probably are looking at Ministry of Education. That has to be resolved. The reporting arrangement, is it that every 3 months, as we are having in the case of petroleum management of petroleum revenue, you're going to have to report, say, every quarterly, every semi-annually to a particular committee of Parliament to show how much money is going in, how many people are being trained, which service providers are being engaged. These reporting arrangements must be stated in law. We must find out what the sources of funding would be. We know one of the irregularities was that somebody, contrary to what we know traditionally, decided to secure money from the World Bank for the benefit of the program at an arrangement fee of almost 3 million Ghana cedis. That money didn't come, but somehow that person took the money. So it's important we are clear how we're going to get money to finance the program. The point we are making, why is it that we have not finished with any of these arrangements that has not come to Parliament? And then all of a sudden we see these advertisements seeking to do things the same old way that enabled to loot the program the way they did. Why? Now, it just occurs to me, when you listen to Manasseh, you realize that the ICT model has become problematic. They cannot even get legitimate candidates who can be trained to respond to a certain labor need of the country. I'm landing on this question.
Right, go ahead, quickly.
May it not be useful for the law to even state how we identify those sectors of the economy that require special labor for which we will be training some particular youth? Will it not be necessary for a law to make this clear? That is why I think government is rushing this, because I suspect people want to benefit illegitimately. I'm calling on the minister and the president to stop this.
But this existed also while it was the National Youth Employment Program under your administration, I mean the NPP's administration as well.
Well, to begin with, I have overcome this business about NPP administration, NDC administration. If things were done wrong, they have to be corrected. As a country, we are getting into more and more difficulties. We must begin to act together and to stop wrong things when they are happening, irrespective of how somebody did it in the past. Now, in the past, the NYEP, as it used to be called, is growing. There are issues that did not come up then that have come up now. But even if those issues came up then and were not resolved, this is the time to resolve them. And we should just going forward do the things that would make this program stand and serve the purpose for which it was put together, rather than allowing people with illegitimate interest to run this program, to siphon public funds, and to leave youth unemployment the way it is. It just cannot be allowed.
Right, Kweku, then again, previously RLG was asked to pay some penalty in some installment as well. One would say that once that has been done, then we can go ahead and look for new tenders to take care of the ICT as well. The ICT module.
The 25.5 million that was paid to RLG, supposed to train 16,000. There is an outstanding, almost 12,000 beneficiaries to be trained by RLG. How are we addressing that? May it not be useful to find a way of getting value for that public expenditure? All those arrangements have not been made. But more importantly, it is because these wrongs happened in the past, and we do not want their repetition. That is why we are saying those institutional arrangements that were lacking and that permitted wrongdoers to do the kind of wrongs they did will have to be fixed. So we want to see government broad framework and the associated legislation that would show how things ought to be done, what can be done, what cannot be done, the reporting arrangements, how we select the models, and all those things, sources of funding to the program, all those things have to be properly defined so that we can all keep an eye on an important program that seeks to provide jobs for the youth.
Will that mean we should put the program on hold, at least until we are able to settle those?
That was the assurance we were given by government when the irregularities came up, that we're keeping the program on hold until the associated institutional matters have been resolved. Have they been resolved? Why has the law not come to Parliament?
But then it also means that the reason we set it up to tackle the unemployment situation in the country will now be left untackled. Well, we'll come back to square one.
What we have been doing is not using the program to address unemployment issues. We have been using the program to siphon public funds. We are saying that must stop. And it is in the interest of the unemployed youth that it must stop. What I am saying is that if we run the program the way we are doing, the correction of unemployment in the youth that you are concerned about will not happen. And therefore, we need the arrangement that would make that objective addressed. And that is my concern.
Right, thank you very much, Kweku. Kweku Kwating is Member of Parliament for Obuase West, and he thinks that government must suspend ongoing advertisement seeking to engage new service providers for the Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency.